Hello, this is Gilgamesh, and I want to talk about this movie. This is Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. God, this movie was also a very, very long. This was 148 minutes long. That's over 2 hours long. This movie, and I've said this before, Zack Snyder has this tendency to make really long and boring films. This movie, he's also the writer and cinematographer of this movie, and he is not good at being the director of cinematography because this movie has the same problem Rebel Moon had, which is it's got this lot of this take the color out of it and make the movie very hard to watch because keep it out of focus a lot. Like when you're wanting something to be in the foreground, which is close to the camera, you want everything else to, you want to blur out everything because you want the people in the scene, you want to focus on them. When you want something in foreshot, in the foreground, that's in the back, you make everything else out of focus. He has a lot of problems with this. And this movie I could not tell did not look like he was using any actual lighting outside other than the sun, because a lot of these scenes are really dark. And we're talking, it's hard to see what's going on. Barely can see the characters or their faces because, there's like at the beginning characters in the dark in their vehicles. And he doesn't do something so you can actually see their faces. You hear them, but you can't really tell what's going on in the car. But there is, and this is what's weird, the best shot that he films that's perfectly shot is two. And they're right at the beginning of the movie where it has to do with two vehicles. This car with a couple in it, and they're driving outside. You see magnificently this fucking shot is framed and in focus perfectly. And then the same thing with this truck that has this container on it is perfectly shot. And that's about the best filming in this movie. Zack Snyder, you do not know what you're doing. Like I said, was this movie bad. The script is terrible. The acting, let's look at this cast. I'm not joking. This is probably one of the most, what the fuck cast was this? Yeah. We have Dave Bautista. Cannot wrestle and cannot act. He is a steroid user. Anybody can see he is. Garrett here, I like Garrett. Dylan Hunt, he's good in a lot of things, just wasted in this movie. You have her. She's a comedian. And I must say it, she's not terrible in this movie. She probably actually gives the best performance of everybody in this movie is her. Maybe, actually, I'm going to say this, because most of these characters, the personalities aren't there. You've got some that kind of, you go, okay, they have some personality, like this guy, Omar here. Omari, I think. Yeah, he plays Vander Roll, I think he's the black guy. Built black guy and everything. Then you have Guzman here. These two guys have great personalities. He's a dick. This guy right here, Theo Rossi, he's seen him in other movies. He's actually a good actor. He plays an absolute asshole in this movie. Not surprising, he's really good at playing assholes in movies. This actor, Richard Ketron, he's actually the main zombie known as Zeus. Yes, in this movie. Dave Bautista cannot act. He cannot emote emotion for shit. Because there's a scene in this movie where he's supposed to have this emotional, scene with her, Ella Purnell, where she plays his daughter, and it's this, they're trying to get them to, it has to do with a terrible thing that happened. I won't get into that. But she's trying to deliver this dialogue, which is kind of shit. It's not her fault. She's doing the best she can with what she's working with, trying to deliver, and Dave Bautista with the personality of a brick, cannot give you emotion, cannot make you care. And it happens with Maria, played by her, because there's a scene where they're both together, and this is after his daughter runs off, and they're talking, and she's telling him how much she loves him, and she knew about his marriage. She didn't wait for it, the whole dialogue, and there's no connection there. There's literally, he just stands there looking at her, says some things, but it's like there's no emotion in him. She's relating that she loves this guy and everything, and he's just like, and there's nothing there. Dave Bautista cannot act. Hell, he cannot wrestle. But this is the problem I don't like about Zack Snyder. Fast-moving zombies are not terrifying. They're boring. And he has this thing, and I know George Romero in Dawn of the Dead, fuck Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, but George Romero, he took this character Bud, and he showed, yes, he could remember and be taught to sort of, part of his dead brain could, and he showed that, yes, he could follow certain commands, he was able to figure out how to use a gun, yes. And then the fast-moving zombie, it wasn't Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead that brought that. Really, Nightmare City by Lucio Fulci was probably one of the earliest, probably one of the first I can think of that had the fast-moving zombies, if you want to call them that used weapons. Yes, this movie, it starts out in the desert, and it's obviously supposed to be Vegas. And essentially, like I said, you have this couple, they're in a vehicle, and the woman proceeds, while the guy's driving, to give him a blowjob. You pretty much get the sense that she's doing that because he's doing like a lot of guys when they're getting their dick sucked, their face turns like, and they forget what they're doing. Typical. Yeah, that's actually true about men. You blow their dick, man's face will go. And he forgets he's driving, so he veers in the wrong lane. There's a truck with two guys, you could barely see them in this vehicle. Driving, the driver's not paying attention, and then we have where there's almost a collision, and yeah. Essentially, things go to shit, and like I said, this movie's terrible. But, I kind of get why he hid Zeus, what we find out later, his name, the main zombie in this movie, the alpha zombie, because there's an alpha and omega in wolf packs. He's the alpha, she's the omega. She's the female. Females can't be alphas, only males can. So she's the omega queen. Okay. But we don't see what he looks like. For a good portion of the movie, we don't see what this actor as Zeus looks like, because he's the main king zombie in this movie. Okay. And he basically attacks these, and anybody he bites, he can turn into sort of, not a typical zombie, but these are sort of like faster, smarter zombies. And, they can somewhat think, and they move fast, yeah, not really scary. And there's a whole, and then we have, and I forgot one actor, he's actually a very famous Japanese actor, I'm trying to find him right here. Hiroyuki Sanada has been in a lot of stuff. He was on the TV show Lost, which I thought was shit. I knew the ending was they were all dead. But he's also was in the Japanese Ringu film. Yep. He was sort of friends with the female reporter in the movie, even though in the book it's a guy. And the guy, his character is supposed to be the friend of the male reporter who is a professed rapist in the book. Go read it. Spiral's a really good book. But here he's this guy who apparently owns this casino, and he's hiring Batista to get a team to go into this casino to get out this money. To steal this money. inside Vegas that's been sealed off and basically walled off. And so he starts getting his team together. He has a daughter, of course, and so he gets this. He gets all these characters. This guy's the safecracker. He's German. Hell, he's German in real life. He gets the pilot that's played by Teague here, and I say it. She's actually not. I'm gonna say it. She's actually kind of entertaining. She says things that would make common sense. Garrett's kind of wasted in this movie. He's kind of a dick, but he's not. He doesn't have much of a character to work with. Like I said, this not a great movie, but the best characters in this movie with personalities that actually you go, okay, is him, Theo Rossi, this guy who plays Guzman. Of course, he's kind of like, he's German, but he has this tendency to scream like a girl when something scares the shit out of him, which can get a bit annoying. But, like I said, he's good in a lot of things. Here, he's kind of wasted, and he's a dick in the movie. Like him, but this guy's a dick in a way that you know he's a dick. You don't know much about his character, Martin. Yeah, except for he's an asshole. And I'll get to that. But, yeah, I didn't notice Chris D'Elza. I didn't didn't know he was in this movie. And she's not terrible. Ella Purnell. I mean, they're right in shit, but some of these people try to actually act in this movie. I mean, try to give it their best shot for how bad this movie really is. And give it to Richard here for playing the head zombie. Yeah, you're supposed to actually feel... I'm not sure if Zack Snyder is supposed to make you feel bad for these zombies, but... And I didn't, but I was like, is he trying to actually make us feel that these zombies have emotions? And yeah, I think he was trying to make the zombies seem more human than the humans in the movie. Because, get into the story, yeah, they're hired to go in and steal this money. Okay. By, Sonata. And there's this one chick, I'm trying to think if I see her, I can't, that might be, no, I think, might be Greta here, but she brings people into the walled off, because they want to go in, and then when they get in, the first thing you see is this tiger, and you can tell it's a CGI tiger, it just looks really bad. CGI is not very good in this movie. But then we meet this one zombie. I knew right away he wasn't the Alpha. He wasn't Zeus, what we're supposed to call Zeus. But he was one of these unique zombies for Zack Snyder. And then we meet what they call Alpha Queen, but she's really the Omega. She's the Queen zombie in this movie. How stupid of it is that? Yeah. So they meet her, and they give... The hilarious thing is, this guy basically gets left behind for them, and the blonde chick basically reveals that this is what you have to do to be able to keep them off your back. You have to give a sacrifice, and she usually chooses assholes to sacrifice. And like I said, this movie's not good. It's way too long. It's pretty boring, and there's scenes where they're like Dave Bautista's character and this woman. I'll just point out, these two are talking, I think, outside, and you can see the sun, and it's like and she covers, sort of blocks it, you can barely see their faces. This is the biggest problem I have with Zack Snyder. He has this, as a cinematographer, he doesn't know how to light a scene. That's why I kept wondering, is he just relying on outside and relying on the sun to light the outside? Because that's a pretty shitty thing. That's pretty bad, because you can make lighting even look realistically like it's just the moon. You can't. And people have done that in movies where it looked like, yeah. But it's a really bad movie. This movie is way too fucking long. I'll keep saying that. And so, yeah. And essentially, we find out as the movie's progressing that the blonde chick who brought them in there had been helping this guy because he said she thought that he just wanted to get a vial of blood from her. That's why he wrapped her up. And he cuts her head off and takes it because he goes, it's valuable, it's worth more than the money. And basically, the blonde chick who brought him in, I forget what her name is, steals the head from him and basically screwing it because he locks them all in the basement. I'm giving away the plot of this movie. Most people have probably seen this. This has been out for since 2021, so you probably have seen it, and I'm not wasting this goddamn movie. The zombie shit makes no sense. Yeah. And basically they get the vault open, they get to the money, and then Garrett, the actor who plays Martin, betrays them all, and then they have to fight their way out, and several of them, including Guzman, die, and so at the end, basically, there's this, where Lily, that's who it is. I wonder who played Lily. I'm going to look because Lily is the woman. Okay, this is Lily. She's the one that brings him in. I thought it was her, but no. Lily is the woman who gets him in there, and then she basically finds out that he wanted the head from her. He took it. So he basically, so what she does is steal the head from him, leave him with I think it's a cash register. He doesn't realize it till after he's locked him in there. And essentially, but when we get back to the roof of the building where the helicopter is, they're all trying to get on, then Zeus shows up, he's the head zombie, and the reason, and then she basically pulls out the head, Lily does, to try to delay Zeus, and essentially at the end of the movie, Peters, who's the pilot, played by Teague, gets them to where he can go save his daughter, and and basically at the end of the movie, Lily looks like she gets bit by Zeus because she gets impaled on the wall, and then she drops the queen's head and it splatters, and Zeus is beyond angry. Yeah. I said this movie's terrible. And then, essentially, we have Cummins, who gets bit by Zeus, and he comes back as a zombie, and basically he gets killed, trying to kill Kate. And then, basically, they get out. Turns out her dad, played by Batista, Kate, gets bit, he's turned into a zombie, she shoots and kills him, and walks away. So essentially, then we find out that the black guy, who is this guy right here, he survived, he leaves, he gets on a plane, this is the end of the movie, you could tell he's clearly been bit because you can see the signs, goes in the bathroom and notices he was bit by Zeus. And he starts laughing because he's heading to Mexico. So I guess there might be a sequel to this dog shit, but this movie was just boring, terrible, too long. Another problem with Zack Snyder, it's not worth watching. Snyder fans love this movie. I know they love everything he does. Fine, you can love it. I couldn't stand this movie. I'm not a Zack Snyder fan, but I watched it. It's boring, it's shit. Zack Snyder, please stop thinking you can be a cinematographer. You barely can direct or write. And, this is Gilgamesh. I'll talk to you later. Bye.